Morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. So this video is going to be for your math today, and also going to lead into your math tomorrow. Okay, because we're going to be still talking about fractions when your whole thing is a number, is a more than one, and that's going to help you solve tomorrow's big problem. Okay, because I gave you a one big word problem for tomorrow that you're going to need the skills you've been working on this week to be able to solve. Okay, so I've seen lots of really great work already using counters with 1/2 and 1/3, and today I kind of opened up the question a little more. So get some counters. You need 12 again, so whatever you're using. I saw Jacob was using checkers, which is great. Tate and Wyatt are both using coins, which is great. Felix had jelly beans, which is awesome because I'm guessing he got to eat them afterwards. But yeah, so get your 12 counters, and your job was just to show as many different fractions as you can using 12 counters. Okay. So if you have 12, we already, I saw lots of you that posted already showed 1/3 with 12. Okay. So let's say we got 12. I'm just going to draw circles. I'm going to pretend I'm using, I don't know, jelly beans or checkers or coins or whatever. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So we have 12 counters. There's a whole bunch of different ways we can split up 12 into even groups to show fractions. Okay. So that was kind of the job yesterday. I said 12 counters as well and showing 1/3. So we can start there because you're probably all, you already did that from yesterday. So 1/3 was when you split up these into 3 even groups. Okay, so you third the groups. So if we did that here, we could show that like this. Okay, and to show 1/3, we could circle this group. Okay, so we had 12 things. 1/3 of 12 is 4. Okay, 2/3. If you wanted to show 2/3, you could also do that really easily. 2/3 of 12 would be, well, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2/3 of 12 would be 8. So you could show both those fractions using thirds. Okay. You don't need to do 3/3 because we know that 3/3 is just going to be the same as the 1/2, which is 12. Okay. I should finish that too, but I'm actually going to get rid of all that. Okay, because we want to try a different way. So that's how you can do thirds. So show 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Another one that I saw people do on Tuesday. So this is like a nice, easy one to start with. Whenever you have an even number as your whole, okay? So if you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, all your even numbers, okay? Those ones you can evenly split into 1/2, okay? So if we had a group of 12, 12 is an even number, so we can easily split it into 1/2 by just splitting it right down the middle. So if we wanted to show 1/2, we can circle this many. So if we had 1/2 of 12, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, nice and easy. So we've done 1/2, we've done 1/3. Makes sense. Let's try to do the next one. That makes sense. Let's try to quarter these. 1/4. Okay. So thinking back to division, if we had 12 divided. Now I'm going to fix that. That's not a very good dot. Sometimes this thing doesn't like to do little dots. Makes lines better. Ooh. There we go. Wow, it took me a long time to draw a division symbol. I could do that way easier on a whiteboard. Okay, 12 divided by 4. If we think back to division, so how many times do you have to count by 4 to get to 12? What times 4 gives us 12? If we take 12 and split it into 4 groups, what is going to be in each group? Okay, give you a second, try to think of it. Remember all the work around multiplication and division we did. Hopefully you got to 3. So we can do that, and we can check by this group here. Now these circles are going to be a little bit trickier to show. So there's our 1/3. Oh, sorry, not 1/3, 1/4, which is a group of 3. We're going to do different colors. So our 1/3 is what we're showing. That's the black circle. So I keep saying third. Our 1/4 is what we're showing in the black circle, okay? And these red circles are the other quarters, okay? But we can show that it's all split up. So these are our 4 groups of 3. 3 times 4 is 12. So we can say that 1/4 of 12 is 3. So when you quarter 12, you have 1 group of 3. If you wanted to show, we don't need to show 2/4, because remember when we did the half on Monday, 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So you're not actually showing a different fraction if you write 2/4. But what you could do is use this to show your 3/4, okay, which is a different fraction, a new fraction we haven't done yet. Okay, so you have 3/4 with the black circles there. So if we are showing 3/4, get rid of that 1 there. We want to do 3/4. We can say 3/4 of 12 is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 3/4 of 12 is 9. Okay, so far we've shown a lot of different fractions just using 12. So let's keep a list going. Oop, 1 too many. Let's redo that last one. There we go. So we've shown 1/2 is 6 counters. Okay, 1/3 was 4 counters. 2/3 was 8 counters. Then we just did 1/4 equals 3 counters. There's that guy up there. We didn't do 2/4, remember, because it's the same as half. We already have it up here. So 3/4 is, it was 9. Okay. So there's a good start. That's a whole bunch of fractions that we've done. We've already done 5 fractions. I'm going to challenge you now to think of any other way to split up this group of 12, okay? I'll tell you, I can think of 1 or 2 more ways that you could definitely show a fraction with this. So if you think about division, so what kind of groups can you split 12 into, okay? So remember, back in division, if you can think back then, we talked about factors, okay? So factors are numbers that you can use to split other numbers. So 12 has different factors. So some of the factors of 12 are 2. That's why we could split it in half. Are 3. That's why we could split it into thirds. Is 4, which is why we can split into quarters. Okay. Are there any other factors? So numbers that you can split 12 into even groups. Okay. So if you can think of that, there are a couple more ways you could show some fractions with 12. Okay. So that's your job for today. And if you're watching this on Thursday and this is what you were working on and you wanted to check your work and you wanted to get a little more instructions on how to do it, then you can pause it here because I'm going to start talking about tomorrow's work, which is, so that would be Friday's work. So if you haven't started that, if you haven't tried Friday's work on your own, pause the video, try it on your own, then come back here when you're ready to check your work and get some more instruction on if you are not sure how to solve it, okay? Okay, and you're back. So we are going to take a look at Friday's big problem, okay? So if, hang on, I'm gonna pause it. Okay, sorry, remember, working at home, easily distracted. Okay, so the problem for today was talking about doing a math test and figuring out how many you and your friends got correct, okay? So it said, solve this problem. You just had a math test. There were 24 questions on the test. Your friend Sally studied and got 3/4 of the questions correct. Your friend Bill studied a little bit and got 2/3 of the question correct. And your other friend Joey didn't study at all and got only half of the questions correct. How many questions did they each get right? And then the bonus was you studied super duper hard and got 7/8 correct. How many questions did you get right? Okay, so we need to take a look at the number 24 and figure out what fractions or how many is each fraction. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to say with the simplest one. Okay, so let's figure out what our poor friend Joey, who didn't study very hard, got. Okay, so I'm going to do this with a number line. Okay, and we're going to put, so the most you could have gotten on the test was right here. So 24, that's the whole test. So that's our one whole is 24 questions. If you did perfect, you would have gotten 24 out of 24, okay? So you would have gotten a perfect score. This is the least you could have gotten on the test, 0. You didn't even answer any questions. You didn't get anything right. You got 0. Okay, we are figuring out Joey's score first. So poor Joey didn't study, and he only got 1/2 of the questions correct. So to figure this out, 1/2 is going to be here. Okay, so this is going to be 1/2. To figure out what number is above this, we can use division. So if we want to figure out, let's make this eraser bigger. So this. If we want to figure out what 1/2 of 24 is, we can use division and divide by 2. Because that's how you have things. You split them into 2 groups. So 24 divided by, I cannot do these dots for division. 24 divided by 2. So what is 1/2 of 24? What do you times 2 by to get to 24? Hopefully you can figure this one out. We're going to show that it is 12. And we can check because 2 times 12 is 24. Okay, if we double 12, it'd be 24. If we half 24, it's 12. So that's how many questions Joey got correct. So he got 12 out of 24 on the test. Okay, so not great. He might have to do some corrections to up that score. So there's Joey. Okay, so next up was, make that eraser bigger. So the next one that could be simple to solve, okay? So we're going to be able to use division to solve all of these fractions, okay? So let's take a look at, let's do quarters next, okay? Because remember I've talked about how once you have halves, it's easy to find quarters because it's just 1/2 a 1/2, okay? So let's take a look at, it's Sally. So Sally got 3/4 correct. So on the line, remember if we do halves of halves, so we know this one's going to be 1/4. And our 3/4, which is what Sally got because she studied, is over here. 3/4. So that's our number. And we could estimate, but what we're going to do to solve this is use division once again. So we can't say 24 divided by 3/4, okay, which is what we want. This is what we want here. But to get there, what we need to do is actually figure out what 1/4 is, and that way we'd be able to count from 1/4 to 2/4, which is 1/2, to 3/4, okay? So let's figure out what 1/4 is, and to do that, to quarter something, you can divide it by 4. So 24 into 4 equal groups, okay? So remember, this is our, if we're thinking about multiplication, our 4s are double doubles. So what number would you double and then double again to get to 24? If we're dividing by 4, it's our 1/2 halves. So we did 24 and 1/2 was 12. If you could half 12 once more to get to 1/4, that's going to be it. So 1/2 of 12, that's probably easier than thinking about 24 divided by 4. So 12 split in half again would be our big 6, okay? So we know this right here is 6. So if I had said Sally only got 1/4 on the test, she would have scored 6 right, okay? But she didn't. She got 3/4. So this is not our right answer, but this is going to help us get to our answer because we can see on our number line, it's a pattern. Every time it's going to go up by 6 when we're talking about quarters. So we start at 0. We got 6 is 1/4. 12 is 2/4, which is the same as 1/2. So then 3/4 will have to be 6 more than 12. Okay, so we can count 12 plus 6, which would give us our 18. Okay, so that was Sally. She did pretty good on the test. She did better than our friend Joey. There's Sally. Okay, so now we can get rid of this division problem because we have used it to solve 3/4. So let's see. The last one we're going to do together is our friend Bill. He studied a little bit, and he got 2/3 of the questions right. Now, we all remember from when we did our number lines that 2/3 is smaller, is a smaller fraction than 3/4. Okay, so he didn't do as well as Sally, but we also remember that 2/3 is more than 1/2, so he did better than Joey. So he's somewhere in around here. Okay, now this one, we can't use our quarters or our halves to solve for thirds. Okay, we can't build off of that. We have to try to figure out what 1/3 is first before being able to figure out what 2/3 is going to be. So we can do that by, once again, using division, doing 24 divided. Whoa, that's my best division symbol I've done yet. Okay, 24 divided by 3. Now this one is tricky. Our 3s were tricky times table for sure. Okay, so this one you might need to think about your counters. If you have your work from yesterday, you might be able to figure it out that way. But 24 divided by 3. So you have 24 things. You need to split them into even groups of 3. What times 3 would give us 24 if you're stronger in multiplication? Think about it. If you can count by 3s, that's an easy way to do it as well. So maybe that's how we'll do it, okay? So that everyone can follow along. So if we count by 3s, we can go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Okay, can you see? I'll back up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we had to count 8 times. So if we split 24 into groups of 3, it's going to be 8. So 1/3, if that's what was this guy's name? Billy? Bill. If that's what Bill had gotten, 1/3, he would have only scored 8, but he got 2/3. So just like we did when we were talking about quarters, we can add. It's a pattern. Go up by 8. So 0, then 8, and then an 8 more to get to 2/3 would be, so 8 plus 8 is, that's one of our doubles. We should all be really quick at those, is 16, okay? So I'm going to try to squeeze Bill's name in here. Okay. Bill. There we go. So that's what Bill got, okay? So Joey got 12, Bill got 16, Sally got 18, okay? And now the last one I called a bonus because it's super tricky. And so I'm going to challenge you to try to figure out that one on your own using this number line that I just made for you guys to use, okay? So the question was, the bonus question was, you studied really hard and you scored 7/8 correct, which we remember is a very large fraction, okay? So that is bigger than 3/4. So you already know that it's got to be more than 18, okay? It's going to be somewhere around here, okay? So if we wanted to figure out what 7/8 was, there's a few different strategies we could use to solve this, okay? So if you think about what I did to solve for 2/3 or 3/4, you could do the same thing, except this time using 8 as your divisor, using 8 as the number you're dividing by. You could just use this line somehow. Remember when we were placing quarters, what we did? Or when we were placing 8s, we used quarters. So remember how we did that. So when we made quarters, we took our halves and we halved them. When we made 8s, we took our quarters and we halved them. There's a way you could figure it out using that, okay? You could use your counters again and have 24 of them and split them up into 8 even groups and count out 7 of those groups, and how many are you going to get? Okay, there's a few different ways that you could solve this, but I'm curious to see if you're able to get the correct answer, okay? Once you do, post it on my blueprint. If you did it on paper, you can take a picture of it, or you can just type in what the answer is if you're able to figure it out that way. And I hope this helped you, and I hope that when you watched it, you were checking your work and you checked any mistakes, or it was just a confirmation that you did it correctly and that you are doing super awesome. Okay? Thanks for watching. That's it for today. And hope everyone has a really nice weekend. I think the weather's supposed to be nice. Right now, the sun is shining down on me. It's beautiful out. Hope you get to enjoy some of that as well. Okay? Miss you all, and take care. Bye, everybody.